The space battle above Earth turned into a nightmare for the Vorthan fleet as human fighters swarmed around their massive warships. Like angry wasps attacking giant bears, the alien vessels had superior size and firepower, but the humans had something more dangerous: superior tactics and unbreakable teamwork. Captain Hyeon Soo led his squadron through a complex maneuver that would have been impossible for most species. His fighter twisted and rolled between enemy plasma bolts while his weapons. Officer Sergeant Ji-woo calculated firing solutions with computer-like precision. Delta formation on my mark, he commanded over the radio communications system that connected every human pilot in the battle. 3 seconds. 2-1 Mark 12 fighters moved as one unit, creating a deadly formation that concentrated their firepower on a single Vorthan cruiser. The alien ship shields collapsed under the coordinated assault, and secondary explosions rippled along its hull. The Vorthans had never faced enemies who could coordinate so perfectly. Each human pilot seemed to know exactly where their teammates would be without needing constant communication. Their formations flowed like liquid metal, adapting to every situation on the Vorthan flagship. General Vex watched his tactical display with growing terror. Red symbols showed damaged or destroyed ships scattered across the battlefield. His mighty fleet was being torn apart by fighters that were individually much smaller and weaker. How are they doing this? He demanded from his bridge crew. These humans should not be able to coordinate attacks like this. Their technology is supposed to be primitive. Commander Drax studied the sensor readings with confused amazement. Sir, their communication systems are far more advanced than our intelligence report suggested. They are sharing tactical information in real time across their entire fleet. The battle was not limited to space, as Vorthan landing pods crashed into Earth major cities expecting to find helpless civilians. Instead, they found urban warfare specialists who had been preparing for this exact scenario for decades. In the city of Bizan, Staff Sergeant Chan Ho crouched behind a concrete barrier, watching enemy soldiers advance down the main street. Their plasma rifles glowed with deadly energy, and their armor seemed to deflect most conventional weapons. But the humans were not using conventional weapons. Second squad, take position on the 3rd floor, he whispered into his radio headset. First squad, prepare the surprise in the underground tunnel. His second in command, Corporal So Young, coordinated with other defense units through a network that connected every building in the city. The humans had spent 30 years turning their urban areas into elaborate traps. The Vorthan soldiers moved confidently down the street, their heavy boots echoing between the buildings. They expected terrified civilians to flee before their advance. Instead, they found empty streets and silent windows. What they did not see were the hundreds of human soldiers hidden in carefully prepared positions. The buildings around them contained weapon caches, communication centers, and escape routes that had been planned down to the smallest detail. Chan Ho watched the aliens reach the predetermined location and gave the signal. Now the street erupted in coordinated chaos. Human soldiers emerged from sewers, basement windows, and rooftop positions. Their weapons were specifically designed to penetrate Vorthan armor using technology reverse engineered from captured alien equipment. Enemy soldiers found themselves trapped in a killing zone with no escape routes. Buildings that had seemed empty revealed themselves as fortified positions. Every window held a sniper, every doorway concealed a squad of fighters. The Vorthans tried to retreat but found their path blocked by more human soldiers who had emerged from underground tunnels. The aliens were completely surrounded with no way to call for help. This is impossible, one Vorthan soldier shouted in his own language as human weapons found gaps in his armor. These primitives should not know our weaknesses, but the humans did know their weaknesses because they had been studying Vorthan military equipment for decades. Every piece of alien technology that had ever been detected near Earth had been analyzed and cataloged. Similar scenes played out in cities around the world as Vorthan landing forces discovered that Earth was not the helpless target they had expected. Tokyo, Berlin, New York, Moscow, every major population center had been transformed into a fortress. The Galactic Council observers watched the urban battles with amazement. Ambassador Crix recorded detailed footage of human tactics that had never been seen before in galactic warfare. They are not just defending their cities, he whispered to his companions. They have turned their entire civilization into a military machine. Every civilian knows their role in The defense plan commander Thal tentacles moved rapidly through his water tank as he processed the incoming data. The humans have been preparing for galactic contact for much longer than anyone realized. This level of coordination requires decades of planning. High Counselor Yep compound eyes tracked multiple battle scenarios simultaneously. The most impressive thing is their unity, he observed. Every human seems to understand how their individual actions contribute to the larger strategy back. In space, the battle continued to turn against the Vorthans as more human ships emerged from hidden bases around the solar system. These were not the primitive vessels the aliens had expected, but advanced warships that had been built in secret. Commander Jae-sung led a squadron of these ships against the Vorthan battle line. His tactical officer, Lieutenant Min-ho, coordinated with ground-based weapon systems to create devastating crossfire attacks. Target their command ship, he ordered over the fleet. Communication network, all units concentrate fire on the vessel with the strongest energy signature. The human fleet moved with the same deadly precision as their fighter squadrons. Every captain knew their role in the battle plan and executed it perfectly. The Vorthans found themselves facing enemies who seemed to anticipate their every move. On the alien flagship, General Vex realized that his invasion had become a disaster. More than half his fleet was destroyed or retreating. The humans were not just defending themselves, they were actively hunting down his remaining ships. Sir, Commander Drac reported with barely controlled panic. We are receiving reports from the landing forces. They are requesting immediate evacuation. All ground operations have failed. The truth was becoming clear to everyone involved. The Vorthans had not attacked a primitive world. They had invaded a planet full of warriors who had been waiting for this moment their entire lives. In the underground command center, Colonel Wu Jin watched the tactical displays with professional satisfaction. The defense plan was working exactly as designed. Every human unit was performing their assigned role with deadly efficiency. Lieutenant Mi-na reported casualty figures that seemed impossible. Sir, we have eliminated 90% of the enemy landing forces with minimal losses on our side. The humans had not just won the battle, they had dominated it completely. The Vorthans were learning a lesson that would echo throughout the galaxy for generations. Never underestimate a species that has been preparing for war. 6 months after the failed Vorthan invasion, the galaxy had changed in ways that no one could have predicted. The once mighty Vorthan Empire was now a collection of independent systems fighting among themselves. The balance of power that had existed for centuries was completely shattered. The humans had not remained idle during this period of galactic chaos. Captain Oh Kyung-soo led the first wave of Earth exploration ships to nearby star systems, finding worlds rich in resources and empty of intelligent life. Each discovery was carefully cataloged and reported back to Earth. Engineer Specialist Han-na worked tirelessly to adapt alien technology for human use. The captured Vorthan ships provided blueprints for faster-than-light travel that human scientists improved beyond the original specifications. Their quantum drive systems are inefficient, she reported to Dr. Young-ho. We can increase travel speed by 30% and reduce energy consumption by half. Communications Officer Selgi monitored galactic communication networks, learning about dozens of alien species and their political relationships. The galaxy was far more complex than anyone on Earth had imagined. Sir, she reported to Captain O. I am detecting increased military activity near the former Vorthan territories. Multiple species are moving fleets into the region. The collapse of Vorthan power had created opportunities that aggressive species were eager to exploit, but they all shared the same concern about Earth expanding influence. Each alien civilization was asking the same questions. What did the humans want? How far would they expand? Were they planning to conquer other worlds? The answers to these questions would determine the future of galactic civilization, and the Galactic Council knew they needed to make contact with Earth before the situation spiraled out of control. Ambassador Crix from the Zentari Republic prepared his ship for the journey to Earth. His mission was to invite humanity to join the galactic community, but he was not sure how they would respond. Commander Thal from the Mercadian Alliance floated in his specialized travel tank as his vessel approached the solar system. His role was to assess human military capabilities and determine if they posed a threat to galactic stability. High Counselor Yep from the Stellar Federation made final preparations for the most important diplomatic mission in galactic history. His insect-like body clicked with nervous energy as he reviewed the intelligence reports about human society. The 3 council members had been chosen because they represented different aspects of galactic civilization, science, diplomacy, and military power together. They would evaluate whether humanity was ready to join the larger galactic community on Earth. President Park Jin-young waited in the newly constructed Galactic Relations Center in Seoul. The building had been completed in record time, showing the galaxy that humans could adapt quickly to new situations. The structure itself was a marvel of engineering, combining human architectural styles with design elements that would be comfortable for various alien species. The meeting rooms contained different atmospheric conditions and gravity settings. Foreign Minister Choi Hyun-woo reviewed the diplomatic protocols that had been developed for first contact with galactic civilization. Defense Secretary Lim Yoon-suk studied intelligence reports about the approaching alien vessels. "We know they are coming," she told President Park. "Our deep space sensors detected their ships 3 days ago. They are using diplomatic approach patterns and have not activated weapon systems." The humans had been preparing for this moment since the Vorthen defeat. Every major government on Earth had coordinated their response to ensure that humanity would speak with one voice to the GalaXY. Dr. Soo-jin led the scientific teams that were analyzing every piece of data about galactic civilization. Human researchers had made breakthrough discoveries by studying captured alien technology and intercepted communications. "We now understand the basic structure of galactic government," she reported to the Leadership Council. The Galactic Council represents dozens of species and maintains peace through a complex system of treaties and trade agreements. Dr. Young-ho added his analysis of alien military capabilities. "Most species rely on overwhelming firepower and defensive shields. Our tactics of coordinated attacks and precision strikes are completely unknown to them." The human approach to warfare had been shaped by centuries of conflict on Earth, where resources were limited and casualties were expensive. Other species had developed different fighting styles based on their unique histories. Captain Oh Kyung-soo returned from his exploration mission with detailed reports about nearby star systems. His discoveries would influence how Earth approached galactic diplomacy. "We have identified 12 systems suitable for human colonization," he reported to the Defense Council. 3 contain worlds that could support Earth-type agriculture. 6 have asteroid belts rich in rare metals. The possibility of human expansion was both exciting and terrifying to galactic observers. Species that had taken centuries to colonize single systems were watching humans plan expansion to multiple worlds simultaneously. Engineer Hanna presented her latest discoveries about alien technology to the Scientific Council. "We have successfully reverse-engineered their shield generators, artificial gravity systems, and quantum communication networks." Communications Officer Cell I had been monitoring galactic news networks and political discussions. "The defeat of the Vorthens has created a power vacuum," she reported. "Multiple species are forming new alliances to counter potential human expansion." The galactic diplomatic mission approached Earth with careful preparation. The 3 council members knew that their decisions would shape the future of galactic civilization. Ambassador Crick's vessel was the first to enter Earth orbital space, followed by the ships of Commander Thal and High Counselor. Their diplomatic formation was designed to show peaceful intentions while demonstrating the diversity of galactic civilization. President Park Jin-young received them in the main conference room of the Galactic Relations Center. The chamber was filled with representatives from every major nation on Earth, showing the aliens that humanity was truly united. "Welcome to Earth," President Park said in perfect galactic standard language, surprising the alien diplomats. "We have been expecting your arrival, and we are honored by your presence." The alien visitors were amazed by human preparation. Once again, the species from the small blue planet had demonstrated capabilities that exceeded all projections. Ambassador Cricks spoke first, representing the scientific community. "We come to invite humanity to join the Galactic Council and take your place among the civilized species of the galaxy." Commander Thal added the military perspective. "Your defensive capabilities have proven that Earth deserves recognition as a major power. Your tactics and technology have impressed military leaders across the galaxy." High Counselor Yep presented the political reality. The defeat of the Vorthons has created opportunities for expansion and growth. The Council believes that human participation would benefit all. Species President Park exchanged glances with Foreign Minister Choi Hyun-woo and Defense Secretary Lim Yoon-suk. The human leadership had spent months preparing for this moment. We are honored by your invitation, President Park replied, but we must discuss the terms of such membership. Earth will not accept a subordinate role in galactic civilization. The alien diplomats were surprised by human directness. Most species requested membership in the galactic community, but the humans were negotiating. As equals, what conditions do you propose? Asked Ambassador Crick's. President Park smiled confidently. We want full voting rights in the Galactic Council. We want access to all galactic trade networks. We want the right to establish colonies in unclaimed systems, and we want guarantees that no species will interfere with Earth internal affairs. The negotiations had begun, and the galaxy was about to discover that humans did not just fight differently, they also bargained differently. Earth was not asking to join the galactic community as a junior partner. They were demanding to be recognized as equals from the very beginning. The age of human expansion was about to begin, and the galaxy would never be the same. General Vex stood frozen on the bridge of his flagship, watching his tactical display transform from confident blue symbols to terrifying red warning lights. The mighty Vorthon invasion fleet that had seemed so powerful just hours ago was now scattered and broken across the Earth orbital zone. Sir, his communications officer called out with a trembling voice. We have lost contact with 60% of our landing forces. The remaining ground units are requesting immediate evacuation. How is this possible? General Vex whispered to himself as he watched another of his cruisers explode under human fighter attack. These primitives were supposed to surrender at the first sight of our weapons. The bridge crew worked frantically at their stations trying to coordinate what remained of their fleet, but the humans seemed to be everywhere at once. Their ships appeared from behind planets and moons. Their fighters emerged from asteroid fields, and their ground forces had turned every city into a death trap. Commander Drac looked up from his tactical station with desperation in his eyes. Sir, our remaining ships are taking heavy damage from weapons we do not understand. The humans are using technology that does not match our intelligence reports, Captain. Zex stumbled across the bridge, his uniform torn and his face pale with shock. He had just returned from leading a ground assault that had gone horribly wrong. General, the humans were waiting for us, he gasped. They knew exactly where we would land and how we would attack. Every street was a trap, every building was a fortress. The communication system crackled to life, and a human voice spoke in perfect Vorthon language. The accent was flawless, and the grammar was better than some native speakers. General Vex of the Vorthon Empire, this is Admiral Park Dong-hyun of the Earth Defense Forces. I am contacting you to offer terms for your surrender. The entire bridge fell silent as the human words echoed through the ship. General Vex stared at the main screen in shock. How do you know our language? He demanded. We have been monitoring your communications for over 2 years. Admiral Park replied calmly, your empire is not as secretive as you believe. We know about your military structure, your ship designs, your battle tactics, and your weaknesses. The truth hit General Vex like a physical blow. The humans had been preparing for this invasion long before it began. They had intercepted Vorthon messages, studied their technology, and planned countermeasures for every possible scenario, but that is impossible, he protested. Our communication systems use quantum encryption that cannot be broken by primitive species. Admiral Park's voice carried a hint of amusement. Your encryption is indeed sophisticated, but it is not unbreakable. We have been listening to your military transmissions for months, learning your language, studying your culture, and preparing for your arrival on the planet's surface in the underground command center that coordinated Earth Global Defense Intelligence Officer the Jin reviewed the massive database of alien information that had been collected over decades. Colonel Wu Jin stood beside her workstation, amazed by the scope of human preparation. How long have we known about them? He asked. The first Vorthon signals were detected 8 years ago, she replied, but we have been preparing for galactic contact for over 30 years. We knew someone would eventually notice our world. Major Sung Ho joined the conversation, carrying reports from around the planet. Our analysis teams have been studying every piece of alien technology, and every intercepted message. They underestimated us completely because they thought young species must be weak. The humans had indeed been preparing, but not just for defense. They had been studying the galaxy, learning about different alien civilizations and building technology that could match or exceed anything they might face back. On the Vorthan flagship, General Vex tried to understand how his certain victory had become a complete disaster. Sir Commander Drac reported with growing alarm, "I am detecting human ships approaching from the outer system. These are not the small fighters we faced before on the main screen. Massive human warships emerged from behind Jupiter where they had been waiting in ambush. These vessels were larger than most Vorthan cruisers, and their weapon systems glowed with energy signatures that made the aliens nervous. This is impossible," General Vex shouted. "How did they build ships like this without anyone knowing?" The answer came from Admiral Park's voice over the communication system. "We have been preparing for this day since we first detected alien signals decades ago. Every resource on our planet has been dedicated to defense, and every human has played their part." The scope of human preparation was staggering. They had not just built weapons and ships, they had created a unified global civilization focused entirely on protecting their world from external threats. Colonel Jae-sung commanded one of the human battleships as it closed in on the retreating Vorthan fleet. His crew had trained for this moment their entire lives, knowing that humanity's survival might depend on their actions. Lieutenant Min Ho reported from the tactical station, "Sir, the enemy fleet is attempting to retreat toward the outer system jump point." "Should we pursue?" Negative, Jae-sung replied. "We will escort them to the edge of our territory and ensure they leave, but we will not pursue them beyond our borders." The human response was measured and professional. They were not seeking conquest or revenge, they simply wanted the invaders to leave their space and never return. The Galactic Council observers watched these events with growing amazement. The humans were not just winning, they were demonstrating military capabilities that rivaled the most advanced species in the galaxy. Ambassador Crix sent urgent reports to the Zentari Republic. "This species has developed faster than any civilization in recorded history. Their technology appears to be at least 50 years ahead of our projections." Commander Thal contacted the Mercadian Alliance with similar warnings. The humans have been preparing for galactic contact. While appearing to focus on internal conflicts, this level of deception requires incredible coordination. High Counselor Yep sent detailed analysis to the Stellar Federation. "The most disturbing aspect is their unity. Every human seems to understand their role in the larger defense plan. This suggests a level of species cooperation we have never observed." The failed invasion was sending shockwaves throughout the galaxy as news of the Vorthan defeat spread through secret communication networks. Species that had considered Earth a potential target suddenly reconsidered their plans. General Vex made his final transmission to the planet's surface. "Admiral Park, we are withdrawing from your system. We will not return." "Good," Admiral Park replied. "Your ship and crew are free to leave, but remember that Earth is now aware of galactic civilization. We will be watching, and we will be ready." As the surviving Vorthan ships limped away from Earth, their crews carried with them a terrible truth: the galaxy had a new player, and that player was far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. The age of human isolation was ending, and the age of human expansion was about to begin. The massive war room of the Vorthan Empire buzzed with excitement as hundreds of alien officers gathered around the central display table. The holographic star map showed thousands of glowing dots representing different worlds across the galaxy. But today all eyes focused on one small blue planet spinning quietly in what humans called the Sol System. General Vex stood at the head of the table, his red-scaled skin gleaming under the bright lights. His yellow eyes burned with ambition as he studied the planet called Earth. The other Vorthan commanders waited in silence, knowing their leader was about to make an important announcement. "The planet looks so peaceful from here," General Vex said, pointing one clawed finger at the blue world. "It rotates slowly, showing green and brown continents surrounded by vast oceans. The white clouds drift across its surface like cotton balls floating in the sky." Commander Drac stepped forward, his armor clanking with each movement. "General, our scouts report that this world has incredible resources. The northern continents contain massive iron deposits. The southern regions have gold, silver, and copper. The oceans hold rare minerals we need for our weapons, yes, General Vex replied with a cruel smile. And best of all, the creatures living there are completely helpless. Our intelligence reports show they have no real space fleet. Their weapons are primitive compared to our plasma cannons. They still use metal projectiles and chemical explosives. Like children playing with toys, the room filled with laughter as the Vorthan officers imagined the easy victory ahead of them. Their empire had conquered 12 star systems over 3 centuries. Each conquest had been swift and decisive. They had never met a species that could stand against their advanced technology, Captain. Zex pulled up detailed scans of Earth cities. The beings there call themselves humans, he reported. They live in large groups in structures made of stone and metal. They have vehicles that move on round wheels and flying machines with fixed wings, very primitive technology. The humans have been sending signals into space for less than 100 years. General Vex continued. Their first spaceflight happened only decades ago. They have barely explored their own solar system. How could such a young species possibly defend against our mighty fleet? More laughter filled the room as the officers shared stories of previous conquests. The Rillan system had fallen. In 3 days, the Moktar homeworld surrendered after seeing just one Vorthan battleship. Earth would be even easier. What the Vorthans did not know was that 3 very important beings were secretly watching their meeting from a hidden observation post on the other side of the galaxy. Ambassador Crix from the Zentari Republic sat in his comfortable chair, his blue skin pale with worry. His large black eyes stared at the screen showing the Vorthan War Council Commander Thal from the Mercadian Alliance floated in his water tank, his tentacles moving nervously through the liquid. His species had evolved in the oceans of a distant world and required special equipment to survive in air environments. High Counselor Yep from the Stellar Federation perched on his mechanical legs, his insect-like body clicking with anxiety. His compound eyes could see many different angles at once, and right now they all showed the same thing: disaster approaching. The 3 aliens belonged to the Galactic Council, a secret organization that monitored dangerous species across the galaxy. They had been watching the Vorthans for years, waiting for them to make a mistake that would justify intervention. Are they truly this stupid? Whispered Ambassador Crix through his translation device. The technology allowed different species to communicate despite having completely different languages and vocal systems. They have no idea what they are about to face, replied Commander Thal, his tentacles creating ripples in his water tank. The vibrations carried meaning that the translator converted into words the others could understand. High Counselor Yep clicked his mandibles together, creating a sound like breaking glass. The translator interpreted this as deep concern. These Vorthans think they understand humans, but they have missed the most important facts. The 3 council members had been secretly observing Earth for over 50 years. They knew things about humans that the Vorthans had completely failed to discover. In their rush to find an easy target, the Vorthan Empire had made a fatal error. Humans were not the weak, primitive species they appeared to be from space. They were something far more dangerous, something that could change the balance of power in the galaxy forever. Back in the Vorthan war room, General Vex was finalizing the invasion plans. Our fleet will consist of 200 warships, he announced. Each ship carries 1,000 soldiers armed with plasma rifles and energy shields. We will begin with orbital bombardment of their major cities. The humans will surrender immediately when they see our power, added Captain Zex. They have never seen weapons like ours. Their primitive minds cannot comprehend our advanced technology. Commander Yix pulled up images of human military forces. Look at their pathetic armies, he said with contempt. They wear simple cloth uniforms and carry basic metal weapons. Some of their vehicles still use wheels instead of anti-gravity systems. The assembled officers roared with laughter at the images of human tanks and aircraft. These machines look like ancient relics compared to Vorthan hover tanks and plasma fighters. Our victory will be so complete that other species will hear about it for generations. General Vex declared the conquest of Earth will prove that the Vorthan Empire is the most powerful force in the galaxy. As the meeting continued, the 3 Galactic Council observers sent urgent encrypted messages to their home worlds. The communications traveled through secret channels that bypassed normal space traffic. The message was simple but terrifying. The Vorthons are about to invade Earth. We need to observe this event. History is about to be made. Ambassador Crix sent additional information to the Zentari Republic Command. This is not just another conquest, he warned. The Vorthons are walking into a trap, but they do not know it yet, Commander. Thal contacted the Mercadian Alliance with similar urgency. The humans have been preparing for this moment longer than anyone realizes, he reported. Their apparent weakness is carefully designed to fool potential invaders. High Counselor Yep sent the most detailed warning to the Stellar Federation. Emergency Council. The Vorthons believe they are attacking a primitive world, he explained. Instead, they are about to face something the galaxy has never seen before. The Galactic Council had strict rules about interfering with the development of younger species. They could observe and record, but they could not directly intervene unless certain conditions were met. The Vorthon invasion of Earth would create exactly those conditions. As the Vorthon fleet prepared for departure, their ships loaded with weapons and supplies for a quick war, the three council members made their own preparations. They positioned observation ships at safe distances around the Sol system. Long-range sensors focused on Earth, capturing every detail of the planet's surface. Advanced recording equipment prepared to document what was about to happen. The galaxy needed to see this. The Vorthons had made their choice. They would learn the truth about humans the hard way, and the Galactic Council would be watching every moment of their education. The invasion fleet launched from Vorthon space with great ceremony. Thousands of soldiers cheered as the massive ships disappeared into faster-than-light travel. Their destination was a small blue planet whose inhabitants had no idea what was coming, but the humans were not as unprepared as they seemed. The Vorthons were about to discover that sometimes the greatest dangers come in the most innocent packages. The galaxy held its breath, waiting for the collision between ancient arrogance and youthful determination. News of the Vorthon defeat spread across the galaxy like a virus, jumping from one communication network to another. What had been planned as a simple conquest of a primitive world had become the most shocking military disaster in recent galactic history. The Vorthon Empire, that had ruled 12 star systems for 3 centuries, was collapsing as subject worlds declared independence and rival species sensed weakness. The mighty fleet that had terrorized countless civilizations was now scattered. Wreckage floating in Earth orbital space. On the planet's surface, President Park Jin-young addressed the world from the newly constructed Global Defense Headquarters. Standing beside him were the military leaders who had planned and executed the perfect Defense General Kim Tae-min, Admiral Park Dong-hyun, and Air Marshal Lee Hai. Jin, citizens of Earth, he began speaking to billions of people watching on every continent. Today we have proven that our world will not be conquered by any force in the galaxy. We have shown that humanity stands united in defense of our home and our future. The human victory had been so complete that military analysts across the galaxy were struggling to understand how it had happened. The Vorthons had possessed superior numbers, advanced technology, and centuries of military experience. Yet they had been defeated by a species that had barely achieved interstellar travel. In the hidden observation post where the Galactic Council members had watched the battle, Ambassador Crix compiled his report for the Zentari Republic. The humans demonstrated tactics and technology that exceeded our most optimistic projections, he wrote. They fought with a unity and determination that borders on the impossible, Commander. Thal sent similar reports to the Mercadian Alliance. The human defense was not improvised, he noted. Every action was planned, every response was coordinated. They have been preparing for galactic contact for decades while appearing to focus on internal conflicts. High Counselor Yep analysis for the Stellar Federation was even more disturbing. The humans possess artificial intelligence systems that can coordinate planetary defense in real time. Their weapons technology is at least 50 years ahead of our estimates. Most importantly, they demonstrate species-level cooperation that we have never observed. The implications of human capabilities were sending shockwaves through galactic civilization. Species that had considered themselves advanced were suddenly questioning their own readiness for conflict. Colonel Jae-sung commanded the Human Pursuit Squadron that was escorting the retreating Vorthon ships to the edge of the solar system. His orders were clear: ensure the invaders left Earth space, but do not pursue them beyond the system boundaries. Lieutenant Min Ho monitored the alien vessels from his tactical station. Sir, the enemy ships are heavily damaged and moving slowly toward the outer system jump point. Several vessels appear to be venting atmosphere. Let them go. Jae-sung replied, "We have made our point. Any survivors will carry the message back to their empire." Earth is not defenseless. The human response was measured and professional. They had achieved total victory, but showed no interest in pursuing a defeated enemy or claiming territory beyond their own system. This restraint impressed the galactic observers as much as their military capability in the underground command center that had coordinated the global defense. Lieutenant Mina compiled casualty reports that seemed impossible. Colonel Wu Jin, our losses were minimal compared to the enemy. 95% of the Vorthan invasion force was eliminated with less than 1% casualties on our side. The efficiency of human warfare was unlike anything seen in galactic history, most species accepted heavy losses as the price of victory, but the humans had achieved complete success while protecting their own forces. Dr. Su Jin led the science teams that were analyzing captured Vorthan technology in laboratories around the world. Her assistant Dr. Young Ho made discoveries that changed their understanding of galactic civilization. Their faster-than-light travel system is actually inferior to our theoretical designs, he reported. We can improve their technology significantly and adapt it for our own use. The humans were not just defending themselves, they were learning and growing stronger with each enemy they faced. The Vorthans had unknowingly provided Earth with the keys to galactic travel. Captain Oh Kyung-soo prepared the first human expedition to leave the solar system. His ship was equipped with modified Vorthan technology and crewed by volunteers who understood they were making history. Engineer specialist Han Na ran final checks on the faster-than-light drive that human scientists had improved beyond its original specifications. All systems are ready for departure, she reported. Communications officer Sel Jai monitored galactic communication channels for any signs of hostile activity. Sir, I am detecting increased chatter from various alien species. They seem to be discussing the Vorthan defeat. Let them talk. Captain O replied, it is time the galaxy learned that Earth is no longer isolated. The human expedition launched quietly from a hidden base on the far side of the moon. Their destination was a nearby star system that had been identified as strategically important. Their mission was to establish humanity's first foothold beyond Earth. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council faced an unprecedented crisis. The rules that had governed galactic civilization for millennia were suddenly obsolete. A young species had demonstrated capabilities that challenged the established order. Emergency sessions were called on council worlds as leaders tried to understand what the human victory meant for galactic stability. Species that had been enemies for centuries suddenly found themselves united by concern about this new threat. The Vorthan survivors who reached their homeworlds carried reports that seemed impossible to believe. They spoke of humans who fought with perfect coordination, weapons that surpassed galactic standards, and technology that had been developed in secret. Emperor Vorth himself read the reports with growing alarm. The humans knew our language before we contacted them, he said to his advisors. They were prepared for our invasion tactics. They turned their entire world into a fortress. Without anyone realizing, the collapse of Vorthan power created a vacuum that other species rushed to fill, but they all shared the same concern. What if Earth decided to expand beyond their own system? Navigation. Captain Oh Kyung-soo's ship emerged from faster-than-light travel in the Alpha Centauri system, the closest star group to Earth. His crew immediately began scanning for habitable worlds and potential threats. 3 planets in the habitable zone, reported engineer Han Na. No signs of intelligent life, but rich mineral deposits and suitable atmospheric conditions. Communications officer Sel Jai detected artificial signals from the outer system. Sir, there are monitoring stations here. Someone has been watching this system. The galactic observers who had been tracking human activities were scrambling to understand what Earth intentions might be. The humans had proven they could defend themselves, but what would they do with their newfound power? Captain O opened communication channels, broadcasting on standard galactic frequencies. This is the Earth vessel Harmony to any listening stations. We come in peace to explore and establish friendly relations with our galactic neighbors. The Message was received by monitoring stations throughout the region and immediately forwarded to the Galactic Council. The humans were not hiding their expansion, they were announcing it to the Galaxy Ambassador. Krik's Commander Thal and High Counselor Yep prepared for the most important mission of their careers. They would make first contact with Earth and determine what role humanity would play in galactic civilization. The galaxy was about to discover that humans were not just capable of defending themselves, they were ready to take their place. Among the stars, the Vorthan invasion fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system like a swarm of angry metal insects. 200 massive warships arranged themselves in perfect attack formation, their hulls gleaming with weapon ports and shield generators. General Vex stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Destroyer of Worlds, watching the small blue planet grow larger on his main display screen. The journey from Vorthan space had taken 3 days and his soldiers were eager for battle. This will be our easiest conquest, yet he told his bridge crew, look how peaceful their world appears. No orbital defenses, no military satellites, no weapons platforms. They are completely helpless. Commander Drax studied the sensor readings from his tactical station. General, I am detecting some unusual signals from the planet's surface. It appears they have noticed our arrival. Of course they have noticed us, General Vex replied with a cruel laugh. We want them to see our mighty fleet. When they realize how hopeless their situation is, they will surrender without a fight. The fleet moved closer to Earth, maintaining their intimidating formation. Each ship was the size of a small city, bristling with enough firepower to level continents. The Vorthans had used this same tactic on dozens of worlds, and it always worked on Earth. The first detection of the alien fleet came from a monitoring station hidden deep beneath the mountains of South Korea. Young engineer Taeho was working the night shift when his computers began screaming warnings unknown contacts approaching from outer system boundary. He called out to his supervisor. The readings show massive artificial structures moving at high speed toward Earth. Bo Ra rushed to his workstation, her fingers flying across the keyboard as she analyzed the incoming data. 200 vessels, she announced calmly. Each one larger than our biggest space station. They are not responding to our standard greeting protocols. The underground facility erupted into controlled activity as dozens of technicians activated systems that had been waiting in silence for decades. Hidden communication networks carried urgent messages to military bases around the world within minutes. Every major government on Earth received the same simple message: contact imminent, prepare for Scenario 7. In Washington, the president was awakened by his security chief. In Moscow, the premier left an important meeting. In London, the prime minister cancelled all appointments. The leaders of Earth had been preparing for this moment for 30 years. The Vorthan fleet settled into high orbit around Earth, their weapons trained on the major population centers. General Vex opened a communication channel broadcasting on all frequencies used by the primitive humans, people of Earth. He announced in his most intimidating voice, I am General Vex of the Vorthan Empire. Your world now belongs to us. Surrender immediately and your deaths will be quick. The response was not what he expected. Instead of terrified pleas for mercy or immediate surrender, the humans sent back a simple message in perfect Vorthan language. Unknown vessels, you are in violation of Earth territorial space. You have 30 seconds to identify yourselves and state your intentions. General Vex stared at his communication officer in shock. How do they know our language? He demanded. These primitives should not even know we exist, sir. The voice came through the speakers again. This is Admiral Park of Earth Defense Command. You now have 20 seconds to respond. The bridge crew exchanged nervous glances. This was not how conquests were supposed to begin. The humans were supposed to be afraid, not making demands. General Vex decided to demonstrate his power. Target their largest city with a warning shot, he ordered. Let them see what our weapons can do. Massive plasma cannon on the flagship charged up with a sound like thunder. Building energy levels created a bright glow that could be seen from the planet's surface. Captain Zex aimed carefully at an empty area near the city called Soulfire. He commanded. The plasma bolt streaked down through Earth atmosphere like a green comet, leaving a trail of superheated air. Behind it, the weapon struck the ground with the force of a small nuclear bomb, creating a crater half a mile wide. The General Vex said with satisfaction. Now they understand our power, but something impossible happened. Instead of panicking, the humans responded with weapons of their own. Massive railguns emerged from hidden positions in mountains around the world. Their projectiles moved at incredible speed, powered by magnetic fields. The first salvo struck the Vorthen shields with devastating force. Energy barriers that had protected the ships for centuries began to flicker and fail under the assault. What kind of weapons are these, General? Vex shouted as his flagship shook from multiple impacts. Commander Drax studied his readings with growing alarm. Sir, these projectiles are moving at 30% the speed of light. The kinetic energy is far beyond what our intelligence predicted. More weapons revealed themselves across Earth's surface, orbital platforms that had been disguised as communication satellites suddenly bristled with missile launchers. Hidden bases opened like flowers blooming in deadly gardens. The humans had not just been watching space, they had been preparing for war. In the underground command center beneath Seoul, Colonel Wu Jin coordinated the planet-wide defense from a room filled with holographic displays and communication equipment. Lieutenant Mina sat at the tracking station monitoring every enemy vessel. They are using standard Imperial formation, he reported to the command staff. Exactly like our simulations predicted. They have not adapted their tactics for defending forces. Wu Jin smiled grimly. These Vorthens think they are fighting primitives, but we have been studying their military doctrine for decades. Begin Phase 2 of the defense plan across Earth. Hidden fighter squadrons launched from underground hangars that had been built in secret over 30 years. Sleek ships rose from forest deserts and ocean floors, their pilots trained for this exact moment. The Vorthen sensors detected the approaching fighters, and General Vex laughed. Look at their pathetic aircraft, he said. They are so small compared to our mighty warships. But when the human fighters opened fire, the laughter stopped. These were not the primitive weapons the Vorthens expected. Instead, they fired coherent energy beams that cut through alien armor like paper. Captain Hyeon Soo led Alpha Squadron in a coordinated attack against the enemy flagship. His pilot sergeant Ji Woo maneuvered their ship through the Vorthen defensive fire with skill that seemed impossible. Target the power coupling behind their main weapon, he commanded over the radio. Just like we practiced in the simulators, the human fighters moved like dancers in space, each pilot knowing exactly where their teammates would be. Every attack was planned, every maneuver had a purpose. They did not just fight, they created art from warfare on. The Vorthen flagship alarms blared as human weapons found weak points in their defenses. Systems that had never failed before began shutting down one by one. Sir, Commander Drac called out desperately. We are losing power to the main engines. The humans are targeting our critical systems with impossible precision. General Vex watched in horror as his mighty fleet began to take serious damage. These were not random attacks. The humans knew exactly where to strike for maximum effect. How is this possible? He whispered. The answer came from the planet's surface as more defense systems activated. Massive shield generators created energy barriers over major cities. Automated defense platforms rose from the ocean floors. Anti-aircraft systems emerged from every mountain range. The Galactic Council observers watched from their hidden position as the battle unfolded exactly as they had expected. Ambassador Crix recorded every detail of the human response. They are not just defending themselves, he whispered to his companions. They are demonstrating military capabilities that most species take centuries to develop. Commander Thal tentacles rippled with excitement in his water tank. The humans have turned their entire world into a fortress without anyone realizing it. High Counselor Yep compound eyes tracked dozens of different battle scenarios simultaneously. The Vorthens came here expecting to fight primitives, he observed. Instead, they are facing something the galaxy has never seen before. The first phase of the battle was ending, and already the outcome was clear. The mighty Vorthen invasion fleet was not winning, they were barely surviving. General Vex stared at his tactical display as red warning lights flashed across his bridge. Half of his ships were already damaged, and the humans were just getting started. This was not supposed to happen.